Hi there, this is Mr. Ahmad and welcome to the part 3 of the series where we create and clone Fiverr inside WordPress completely relying on Elementor and crocoblock plugins. Now in the previous video, I added custom post types for gigs or services. I also enabled user profile system and I also added the custom fields to both of those user profiles and the gigs and services. Now in this video, I'm going to be adding a couple of more CPTs and making sure that the profile is properly connected or the user profile is properly connected to the gigs or services. The relations work out perfectly fine. So let's get started. Now you can see here that I have gigs and I also have enabled the profile builder feature of JetEngine. So the next thing for me is work on the relations, and I also need to add the another CPT for order management. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to relations, and inside relations you're going to make sure that the gigs are connected to the user profile. So I'll click on add new. The name should be users to gigs and the parent object should be users because users should have multiple services or multiple gigs, and that's the post type right here. The child object should be where do you need to find it? Yeah, gigs. See? And then the relation type should be one to many. That means that one user profile or a freelancer or a seller can have multiple gigs. So that's one to many. We cannot set any other relation type because that wouldn't make any sense. I think that's done. I'll click on add relation and that should work perfectly fine. Now the next step is to add another CPT, and that is going to be orders management. So let's go ahead to the post types, and that is going to be add new orders. This CPT will basically responsible for managing all the orders between the sellers, and if someone is placing an order from as a buyer, it will appear for the sellers as well. Now here what we can do is we can have custom fields. Let's add some labels as well because I haven't added any labels for the gigs, so it's kind of bad. So it should be order. Yeah, add new order. Perfect. New order view item. Yeah, that's all good. Search for item, or yeah, perfect. Not found. Yeah, that's all good. Perfect. The next thing is adding custom fields. What should be the order status? That is going to be a selection field, and here I'm going to add 4 options. One is going to be pending, another should be in progress, another should be delivered, another should be completed. Now the next thing is that there should be a placeholder. Another field would be order total price. The field type should be text. I think that's pretty much good. Let's move ahead to the other one. Order requirements. It should be classic editor because we want to let people write more stuff. Order delivery date. It should be that actually. Files. This has to be the important files related to the project. So that is going to be. The next thing should be payment status. It should be a selection field, and then pending, paid, refund. Another field should be review. Okay, I think I mistakenly, instead of adding another field, I added another option. It should be review text, and it should be obviously text area. We don't want any classic editor stuff. And this should be rating. Rating should be a thing like number. Minimum value should be 1, max value should be 5, step value should be 1. Yeah, so if someone is like trying to change if you're adding a slider or something, then only 1 digit should change. I think that's pretty much all that covers it up. We might need other fields later on, but I think for getting started, it's all good. Here's the thing. We also need to work on relation now. We already had one relation that's going to be user to gigs. Now we are connecting user to orders. So one user can have multiple orders. User to orders. Yeah. So the parent object should be again users. The second child object should be orders, and relation should be one to many. Okay, I'm gonna add the relation. So now what we have right now is we have 2 relations, and one is for the orders, another is for the gigs. Now inside the gigs, we need to do something, and that would be customizing its labels. Yeah, so that is going to be gig. I think that it is all done. Yeah, perfect. I'll click on update. I will also add a custom field for the gig, and that is going to be the price, because each gig should have a price. So I'll add a new meta field, and that will be the price. Now for the pricing system, what we need to do is, instead of just using simple text field, what we want to focus on is use a repeater field where we can add multiple fields, and that is going to define our pricing system. Now inside the repeater field, let's add our first one, and that should be the tire name, because Fiverr has this system of like multiple tires. You see, basic, standard, and premium. So that's pretty much what we want, and that should be text, all good. Or instead, we need to have a selection. Selection should be basic, standard, and then premium. See, all good. Now let's add another one, and that is going to be tire price. This has to be a number. Then the next thing is going to be tire description. It should be text area. We don't want a lot of text there. It should be tire delivery time. It should be just text, because we can mention like 7 days, 5 days, 10 days. So it's like a number with text. That's all good. The final one would be, let's say, I think we don't need to go into that much detail or work on the revisions and stuff, but I think this much is enough. We don't need to go further. We'll really complicate things for ourselves. In fact, it's a whole complicated project from right off the bat, so we don't want to do it further. Now that's all done. Let's go ahead and update this whole thing for the pricing as well. Now what we have right now is gigs are updated. They will have their proper labels now. Orders are also there. Let's add some taxonomies, which is going to be categories, and there should be gig category, subcategory, tags, all those three stuff. So let's go ahead to JetEngine taxonomies, and here I'll add another taxonomy that's going to be name, gig category. Yeah, perfect. It should be applied on gigs. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, let's add the taxonomy. Now we can see here that we do have a gig category, and then we need to have another taxonomy, and that's going to be gig subcategory, because Fiverr has a system of like having primary category. Let's say inside the video editing, they'll have further more work, or let's say services. So let's stick to that system. It should be all gigs, and then the label should be gig subcategory. Perfect. Yeah, that's all done. I'll click on add here. Now what we have right now is we have a very great foundation, and the foundation is we are having all of our important CPTs, our user profile system, and the order system. Now the next thing is also just to mention again, we have also created our relation. Now the next part is going to be a little bit more complicated, because we are going to make sure that the users can sign up, they have their proper required forms. Users can also create or build their services and stuff like that, and I want to make sure all of that system is automated without any hassles. Now once this is all finished, you're going to be able to find this whole project inside my Gumroad store, so stay tuned for that. Up until that, like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.